In this video, we'll go over the vocabulary from Latin for the New Millennium, Level 2, Chapter 5. Here's the vocabulary to learn. We'll start with the nouns. The first word is carmen, carmenis, neuter. That's a third declension neuter noun, and it means poem or song. I should point out that the ancients did not clearly distinguish songs from poems as we do nowadays. The next word is kibus, kibi, masculine. That means food, and it's second declension. The next word is flumen, fluminous, river. It's a neuter third declension noun, and it means river. It's actually from a verb fluo, which means to flow. A flumen is something that flows. Okay. The next word is yokus, yoki, masculine, a second declension masculine noun. It means joke. It's obviously where the English word joke comes from. The next word is juventus, juventutis, feminine. It means youth. This is not like youth in the sense of, oh, do you see that youth over there? In other words, that young man. This is youth in the abstract sense of like the quality of being young. So that's juventus, juventutis, feminine, and it's a third declension noun. Then we have mens, mentis, feminine, mind or spirit. And then we have the word vinum, weenie, neuter, wine. That's second declension, obviously, second declension neuter. Then we have virtus, virtutis, feminine, which means virtue or courage, third declension noun. Then we have witium, witii, neuter. That means vice. On to the adjectives. The first adjective is dulcis, dulce. That means sweet. It often means pleasant, but it primarily means sweet. And you'll note that it's actually a third declension adjective of two nominative endings. You can always spot those because they go is-e, like dulcis, dulce, is-e. That's the pattern of third declension, two ending adjectives. Okay. Then we have immemor, immemoris, which means forgetful of. This is a third declension adjective of one ending. You can tell these words because the second form ends in is, and the first form ends in all sorts of things, but the second form, immemoris, ends in is. And it looks somewhat like listing for a noun, except it doesn't have a gender. It can't have a gender because adjectives have to have all three genders. So immemor, immemoris, it means forgetful of. And as English, we can say, in English, we can say forgetful of. In Latin, this word can take a genitive. Then we have the word levis, lewi, light. This is another third declension adjective of two endings. Levis, lewe, just like dulcis, dulce. Okay? And then we go on to the word proximus. Proximus, proxima, proximan means nearest or next. That's a first and second declension adjective. And then we have vehemens, vehementis, which is another third declension adjective of one nominative ending, and it means violent or vehement. And again, you can recognize these words because the first form is unpredictable. The second form ends in is, And then we have one more third declension adjective of one nominative ending, the word for old, vetus, veteris. We're now on to the verbs. We have the verb to drink, biba, bibere, bibi, and no last principal part. Then we have the word to ask or to entreat, or as your book often says, beg, oro, orari, oravi, oratum. And then we have the word, the very important word, say, placeo, placere, placavi, placitum. This is following exactly the pattern of habeo, habere, habui, habitum. It's a standard second conjugation series of principal parts. This word means to please or to be pleasing. It takes a dative. So if I say placio tibi, tibi is dative for to you, that means I am pleasing to you. The important thing to realize about this word is this is the way Latin frequently expresses the idea of I like something. If you want to say, for instance, I like wine, you could say in Latin, vinum mihi placet. Vinum, wine, mihi, to me, placet, is pleasing. Right? So wine is pleasing to me. That's one way Latin says, I like wine. Then we have the conjunctions ne. Ne we've seen before introducing purpose clauses. In this chapter, it is introduced well, actually in this chapter it is used to introduce indirect commands. And then we have tam quam, which your book translates so as. It might be better translated as. So for instance, if I say something like tam pulchra quam tu, that means as pretty as you. Tam pulchra, as pretty, quam tu, as you. Okay, and then we have the word ut. Ut is used to introduce indirect commands. We've seen it before introducing purpose clauses, and that is the vocabulary.